Hi guys, so today is another one of my declutter series. Today we are going through all of my cream eyeshadows. So we have cream eyeshadows that are in these sort of potted format, and then I also have this little container of ones that are in stick format. I love a good cream shadow. I love them on their own on very easy makeup days. I like to wear them on their own and just buff them up through my eye. I also like to use them as kind of a sticky base so that I can then put a powder shadow on top, and then I've just got this totally locked and loaded eye look that I never have to worry about. But let's go ahead and get into this. If you've missed any of my other declutters, I will link them down below. We've covered quite a few products at this point, and I still have quite a few more to go, so make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future declutter videos. But without further ado, let's get swatching. Okay, up first, these are all of my matte bases. So these are in various colors, but I figured it would be good for me to talk about things in terms of matte versus shimmer, because I use a matte base maybe a little differently than I would a shimmer. I do feel like all of these are fairly different from one another, but let's go through and swatch those. So this is MAC Painterly. I like this better than Soft Ochre as a base shadow. I don't necessarily wear this much on its own, but I will wear this in place of an eyeshadow primer or to put a metallic color over the top and really lock it down. It's definitely a better undertone for me than the very yellowy soft ochre color, so Painterly is definitely one of my favorites from the MAC Paint Pot line. This is the shade Groundwork. This is just an easy all over lid color. It's deeper and I feel like it buffs out really well. So on days where I just am doing kind of a no makeup look, this is really pretty. This is the shade Stormy Pink, and this looks really pretty under any sort of like mauvey or purpley tones I'm wearing. And then this is a little Kiko Milano shadow, Cream Crush, shade is 03. They never put the names of these on here. And this one, I think might be drying out on me a little bit. It's harder to get to because it's so far down in that pot too. Those are my 4 matte shades. These 2 I know I'm keeping. I reach for them a lot. If I'm being honest, I don't reach for Stormy Pink a ton. To be honest, I could probably use this underneath a purpley eyeshadow and get a similar effect. And this one I feel like is starting to dry out on me a little bit from Kiko. So I think I'm going to keep Groundwork and Painterly and pass on Stormy Pink and this 03 shade. All right, this section I might suck at because I feel like I don't want to get rid of any of these. Let's swatch them just to be sure. But this is Indianwood from MAC. This is also one of those beautiful all over lid shades, just a classic bronze color. This is Bad to the Bronze. It is one of my favorite potted shadows of life. This is one of the Maybelline color tattoos. It is more taupey. I freaking love that shade. I wear it on its own all the time. I wear it underneath different bases. It's as a base rather. I freaking love it. This is from Revlon. This is shade 710 in their cream eyeshadow formula. Came out last year. These don't swatch as well with your finger, but they go on beautifully with a brush. Yeah, see, that's pretty because it's a very similar shade to Bad to the Bronze, but it's lighter and got more glitter in it. This is Eyes to Mesmerize from Charlotte Tilbury. This is in the shade Marie Antoinette. This is a lot creamier and more moussey, and it's a beautiful satiny texture. And then this is the Butter London Glazen Eye Gloss in the shade, I think this is Whiskey? No, Moonshine. I knew it was alcohol related. This actually has quite a lot of glitter in it, but it locks down in place because it's in this very gel-like base. So hopefully you guys can see that. Quite a bit of glitter in that shade, and as a result you get a really high shine finish to it. Guys, I love all of these for different reasons, for different finishes, for different effects. I know a lot of these might look very similar on camera, but I don't know, this is one of my favorite eyeshadow colors, and I love it in a cream format that locks down. All of these lock into place, none of them move, so I suck, but I'm not getting rid of any of these. All right, up next are golds, and I think I threw this white one in because I didn't have another category to kind of chuck it into. So let's look at these gold shades. So this is the Color Tattoo Studio in Bold Gold. This is kind of a dirty gold, kind of an antique color. This is from Ulta Beauty. This is their cream shadow in Moonstone. This is a beautiful bright gold. Like, this is a stunning gold on my lid. I love it on its own. It also works well as a light base. This is another Maybelline color cream eyeshadow in the shade 705. That's pretty. It's sort of pearly. This is one of the e.l.f. long-lasting lustrous eyeshadows. This is more of a glittery kind of metallic foiled shadow. And then finally, this is, oopsie, this is from Catrice. It's their Aqua Fresh highlighting shadow. It's strange. It's like a jelly, but it's a really intense white. And once it sets, it does not freaking budge. So I love that about it. I don't feel like I need all of these. I want to keep Moonstone from Ulta. I love this one. I think I'm going to pass on this Revlon one. It's just not as intense. Don't need both of these. So I think I'm going to keep this more metallic-y one from e.l.f. and I'm going to pass on the Bold Gold from Maybelline. And I'm not ready to part with this jelly kind of texture highlighter thing. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to keep that too. Next up, we've got rose golds and some sort of more bronzy burgundy colors in here. Up first, this is another one of those Butter London Glazen eyeglosses. These I think are so underrated, guys. They're stunning. This is the shade Icing. It is this weird jelly texture, but it is super intensely pigmented, has a ton of sort of gold and silver shimmer running through it. Doesn't have any shimmer on your face though, so you get this intensely foiled shadow. It goes on really well with your finger, it goes really well on with a flat brush. So even though this jelly thing might seem intimidating, it is not hard to apply at all, in my opinion. This is a pure eye polish. I finally broke down and bought one of these. It's kind of a liquid in there. But I keep it with my cream shadows. It's pretty, and I used to feel like this was super intense when I swatched it in stores, but now compared to the Butter London one, it just doesn't seem quite as intense as it used to. It's funny how intensity levels just keep building and building. This is from Revlon. This is shade 730 in their cream eyeshadow formula. This one is lighter and more almost like a champagne rose gold. This is from Kiko Milano. This is shade 06. I feel like they have reformulated these, and this one, the old formula isn't out anymore, so I'm not even sure you can get these. More of a rosy bronze color. And then finally, this is another long-lasting lustrous eyeshadow. This is in the shade Gala. That one I feel like is starting to dry out on me a little bit. All right, so I think what I want to do is I want to keep the Butter London Glazen eye gloss, not parting with that. That shade Icing is insanely pretty. I think I'm going to pass this pure eye polish on to a friend. I'm going to keep this next one from Revlon. And then these two here, I just don't think I'm going to wear them very often, so I think I'm going to pass these two on. Actually, this one I'm going to pass on. This one I'm just going to throw away because it's feeling dried out. Next up, we have mauves and pinks. So a couple different formulas, couple different undertones here. All right, so let's go light to dark. I think that makes sense, right? So this is another Kiko shadow in the shade 05. I seriously wish I could tell you guys where to go get your hands on this, because this is one of the most amazing, super intensely shiny, metallic, sparkly, just, oh, this shadow is insane. And I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up because I can't even tell you where to get it. If Kiko ever replicates this shade in a cream format again, I will definitely tell you guys because I freaking love this shade. This is the Ulta Color Cream Eyeshadow in the shade Rose Gold. Really pretty shade. Have definitely used this one as a base for other rose gold shadows. Got way too much on my wrist there. Next up is the e.l.f. Long Lasting Lustrous Shadow. This is in Soiree. And this is really pretty. It's got sort of a silver micro shimmer running through it. Next up is the Prismetal Chrome Eye Mousse from JCat Beauty. This is the shade Champagne Whiz. This is more of a frosting-y texture, but holy crap, is that pigmented and beautiful. And then last, this is a smudge pot from e.l.f. This is in the shade Wine Not. This is more of a deep plum color. Okay, so clearly not getting rid of the Kiko shadow. I don't want to get rid of this rose gold shade from Ulta either. I do feel like these are very similar shades, but I like the moussey texture of the JCat one a lot better, so I'm gonna pass on this e.l.f. one. And for as pretty as this shade is, I don't know how much I'm going to reach for this smudge pot either, so I think I'm going to pass this on. All right, this last little grouping of potted shadows are ones that I would consider to be a slightly more unique color. If I'm being totally honest, I don't think I'm getting rid of any of these. This is a beautiful shade from Revlon. This is shade 740. It's a silvery lavender color. Absolutely stunning. Tons of silver shimmer running through it. Highly foiled and reflective. Just a really beautiful all over lid shade. This is shade 735. This one is looking a little dried out. Yeah, for some reason this shade has dried out on me quite a bit. These last two shades are both Butter Glazen eyeglasses. This is the shade Oil Slick. If you guys hear what sounds like the Tasmanian devil running around in the background, it is my little puppy, Marty. And he sometimes decides he is the Tasmanian devil and runs around gurring like a crazy pants. So, apologize. I don't know if it's being picked up on camera, but he's nuts right now. All right, anyway, Oil Slick, Butter London. Insanely pretty blue-brown color. This one is definitely more, I would say, blue-red than the blue-brown pigment from MAC. It's slightly different undertone. I do really love this color. And then this shade is, I think this is Mermaid? Yes, Mermaid. Oh no, is this one drying out? It might be. Does it still work? Yes, it still works. Yeah, to be honest, this could probably take the place of this one anyway from Revlon. This shade is such a cool color. Just gold, blue shift, aqua, I don't know, really cool color. Right, so I was going to keep all four of these when I first opened them, but this one, for some reason, maybe I just didn't screw the lid tight enough, has completely dried out on me. It's just not as pigmented as it used to be. So I'm going to pass that Revlon one along. But these remaining three shades here are going nowhere. Here are all of my cream shadow sticks. I think some of these may be a little dried out, so let's just go through these. These are in no particular order. We're just going to swatch them down my arm. We'll start down here. So these are Sephora shadow sticks, waterproof versions. This is their white one. I felt like I needed a white base and then a black base as well. I gotta be honest, guys, I never reach for these. I think I've barely swatched them. The formula seems nice and creamy, but I'm just not using white and black bases for any eyeshadow look, so I'm gonna pass these two on. These are Marc Jacobs Twinkle Pop ones. I feel like these are all starting to dry out on me. I'm curious if any of them are still working. So this is the shade 3 Shakes. Yeah, you can see it's very kind of shriveled. It used to be about double this size. Oh yeah, that one's even falling out. Kind of sort of get color from it. I feel like these dried out really quickly. This is the shade On the Verge. That one's not as bad. That one's purpley, sort of a lavender color. These are really cooling when you put them on your lids too. It's very strange feeling. They feel cooling. And then this is the shade Honey Bunny. This is sort of a pinky shade. Yeah, that one's very dried out. I can kind of sort of get color. All right, so the two that are dried out, I'm just gonna chuck. This one I'm gonna set to the side and think about. I just don't know how often I'm reaching for this lavender shade, and I feel like I kept some lavenders that I might have liked better than this. This is a little mini Laura Mercier Caviar eye stick in the shade Rose Gold. It's definitely one of her more popular shades. These next three are all Julep eyeshadow, cream to powder. They've got a smudger on one end and then a shadow stick on the other. This is Orchid Shimmer. It's a deep wine color. This is Copper Shimmer. And then this is Olive Shimmer. Oopsie, that one's coming out. This is a Mally shadow stick in Over the Taupe. Very cool toned taupe. That's really pretty. This is another Mally shimmer stick. I think this was cheaper packaging because it came in like a Ipsy or something. This is the shade Copper Rose. Ooh, I really like that. This is by brand Beauty for Real. This is the shade Ever Starstruck, I think is the shade. Very light champagne. Still feels nice and creamy. This is a Bare Minerals Quickie Shadow Stick. This is old. They've discontinued this formula, but like it's still going strong. It is probably one of my favorite taupe shadows. I feel like they did themselves a disservice getting rid of this formula. These feel cool and creamy just like the Marc Jacobs ones, but they last a heck of a lot longer. Like even though this is discontinued, this is the shade Pewter, it still feels like super creamy and fresh. This is a Bobbi Brown shadow stick in the shade Golden Pink. That's pretty. This is my only matte shadow stick. This is Terra from Nude Sticks. It's a really pretty warm base shade. And then these are two Magnifies Eyes from Rimmel. So this is the shade Queens of the Bronze Age. It has a bronze shade on one end, and then a gold sort of liner on the other, although you can use this side as a shadow as well. And that one has a ton of like silver micro glitter running through it, so it's incredibly, incredibly shiny and foiled. Absolutely stunning shade. And then this is the shade Kissed by a Rose Gold. So this has a rose gold shade in it, and a brown matte shade, which does work as a really pretty liner. All right, so let's look at what we have here. This Laura Mercier stick is just a satin color. It's okay. I'm not gonna reach for it. I can get rid of that. I also feel like I'm gonna get rid of these three julep ones. I'm just not reaching for these colors, and to be honest, I like the copper. I would keep the copper shade, but I like the copper that's in the Rimmel one a lot better. I think it's a lot brighter and a lot more intense than this one down here. So I'm gonna pass these three guys along. This Mally stick in Over the Taupe is pretty, but I prefer the Bare Minerals one, so I'm gonna pass that one on. But I do wanna keep this more rosy shade down here. So that's the one I'm getting rid of, and that is the rosy shade I'm going to keep. I think it's a little bit more of a mauvey rose. I don't see myself using this kind of shade very often, so I'm gonna pass this on. It's just not very intense, and I don't know, I just don't see myself using this. I am definitely keeping this shade from Bare Minerals. I'm going to be super sad when it's gone. I probably should start shopping around for a similar undertone because I don't know how much longer this is going to be good. It still feels nice and creamy, but it is the perfect taupe shade. I do like this Rose Gold from Bobbi Brown, so I'm going to hang on to it. I am just not reaching for this matte shade Terra. It's very warm. I've got a friend who likes warm toned shades. I think I'm going to give this to her and see if she enjoys it. Then I'm going to keep these two from Rimmel. I do really like this formula a ton. Like, I think this performs every bit as good as any of the high-end eyeshadows on my arm here. Coming back to this Marc Jacobs one, I mean, it's pretty, but I don't think I'm going to reach for it. I'm going to pass this along. All right, and here is what I am keeping, and here is what I am getting rid of. So I am keeping 23, and I'm getting rid of 22, so 49% of my collection. I cut this about in half. I feel like I'm just noticing that I like the potted shadows a little bit more than the stick ones. Maybe I'm the abnormal beauty lover here. I feel like a lot of people prefer the sticks to the pots. I just feel like I like using my finger or a brush versus a stick, but I do really enjoy the few sticks that I am keeping. I'm getting rid of a bunch of sticks and a few of the potted ones that are either dried out or just not colors that I'm reaching for. So feeling pretty good about this. Flashing over to my drawer, you are now seeing kind of how everything is organized with my single shadows as well, with my pot shadows. So these all kind of fit in this drawer really easily now versus the way they did before. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's Declutter series. Let me know down below, do you prefer potted cream shadows or stick cream shadows? Do you have a preference? Do you even like this as a medium to put on your eyes? I'm curious. Look forward to chatting with you guys down in the comments. Have a great day. Bye.